Good
Hi,
morning,
good morning.
or good afternoon where you are.
Well, it's true. It's afternoon. It's
Yeah,
4 o'clock here in Sweden.
Sweden, nice.
Yeah, yeah. What time is it over?
In Canada,
What in Canada? Yeah.
I'm in Toronto area, Mississauga. It is 10:15. It's
Oh,
the morning. I'm an
but
early guy.
you've been up for. Oh, you said that your son is 15 now, so maybe he doesn't wake up any longer.
Right. If he didn't have school, like they're doing online school right now, but like he can miss a whole day sleeping
Yeah.
if he had his way.
Oh, well,
Crazy.
happy birthday to him.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice. So, is it through Jamie that we connected? Jamie Wakes, she's in Sweden, right?
Uh, Probably.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause does she teach at your studio, or what's the connection there?
So I don't have a studio.
Okay.
I am a certified Pilates instructor. I got certified when I lived in the States. But now I'm mainly focusing on building my Pilates brand, which is sportswear.
Yes.
As of now, we only have it for women,
Hmm.
uh, but maybe you will be the inspiration
Yes.
to create a men's line as well. But yeah, I Jamie contacted me when she was going to move to Sweden.
Mhm.
And she had found our clothes, and the funny thing now is that we live nearby each other. We're almost neighbors.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, so we didn't know that, but
That's too
she
funny.
ended up living in the same area in Stockholm.
Okay. Very
And
cool.
yeah, and I've been working out for her.
I guess. So can you tell us about your brand, your sportswear brand?
uh, yeah, Pebbles Pilates. So we started for about 2 years ago
Hmm.
with the aim to create sportswear to really let women explore and explore their movements, and to do so in really good, sustainable, nice fabrics. We bring
Okay.
all the fabric from Italy, and the fabric are recycled, and then we produce everything in Portugal. And I've chose Portugal because it's easy for, well, first of all, they are really knowledgeable and good in the way they produce sportswear, and they're good in shoes as well.
Okay. Okay.
um, but it's easy for me to go there. Now I can't travel, of course, but when we could, it was easy to go there, and it's so nice to go and see the factory and meet the people who are actually, making the clothes. It becomes more real.
Yes.
So yeah, that's
Fascinating.
why we're based there, and they are really good in the craftsmanship
Hmm.
and knowledgeable.
If anyone in the comment section has questions, please put it in the comment section for us to answer as we go. Because Helen, I'm fascinated with brands, and as much as this is like a service industry helping Pilates, I've had so many different connections with brands over the years. Like two times this brand here is an Australian company that sponsors me and has done so for almost 5 years now.
Hmm.
Right? So and they're almost like the Under Armour of Australia, and they're doing their thing. Before that, I was with a company that was a small upstart company here in Canada, and we went on Dragon's Den and like Shark Tank, that one of those shows, and proposing their stuff, and we
Yeah.
got shot down, and it was really it was like we got torched. But I took a lot away from it because I remember when we were standing up there, and my brother and I were the models, and then the
Hmm.
owner was doing his pitch, and his thing was that the material had a moisture management index that was higher than Nike's Dry Fit or Adidas Play Dry or whatever, all the other brands. So that was his shtick. And as we were standing there, and he had like a squirt gun, he sprayed our shirts or whatever. He sprayed the shirt, and then he showed how it was still dry on the inside, proving how you sweat and those things. But one of the men there, one of the sharks was the guy who started a lingerie company, La Senza.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like a big fabric guy, like multi-millionaire off of these brands. And he said, if you're trying to sell t-shirts, you're not going to make $1 million, so I'm out. And that's how he started. And it just and it went downhill from there. Like it just got worse from there. And I remember shrinking down and just feeling like I don't want to be here anymore, because they were just pounding this owner. And it left this taste in my mouth, like, why would someone get into apparel when it's such a tough marketplace? And there is the Nikes and the Lululemons and the Aloes and all those different things, right? So I have such an admiration when people want to start an apparel company, because it's a really crazy business, right? So that's the longest way of tough. Saying, like, why did you choose to do this?
Yeah, I heard the question coming.
Yes.
Well, I've always been interested in fabric, and in fact, when I was younger, I was really sensitive to various kind of textiles. Mm-hmm. And the reason why it became sportswear was because I have scoliosis, and that's how I got into Pilates. And
yes,
I love the Pilates community. And I didn't really, there are a lot of yoga wear, you have running wear, but there's not many brands doing Pilates specific sportswear. So that's where we started. And then of course you can use our clothes for, all these kind of mindful workouts. But what I love with what I'm doing is the community that we've been able to build, and that we develop all our clothes together with some of the best Pilates people out there. So we take them in, and they're giving us feedbacks. We have them in a feedback loop when we develop new collections, and they try all our clothes, and we're really building a strong community and trust, I would say,
yes.
towards our clothes. It's not, it's nothing wrong with manufacturing in China, for example, but it's not mass produced. It's really like we are guarding almost every step of the process, and we are doing it with the best people. So I'm really interested in movement and see how the body moves, and that's why I still do some PT sessions, because I still love to meet the clients and to see how their body moves, and that gives me inspiration also to how the seams should be on the clothes and so on. And when it comes to Pilates, it's very important that you don't have a lot of seams that comes in your way when you are moving. So you kind of want clothes that so you can move seamlessly, really. You can move without having clothes that hinders, or zippers or pockets. And also for all the studio owners, I know they appreciate the fact that we don't have a lot of zippers, because that destroys the equipment.
Yes.
Is it your studio?
It is.
You're in
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just chuckling because I saw Celia Jones' post just the other day about her 14-year-old piece of equipment that when a lady had zippers and just like punctured the fabric. And she's like mad and sad at the same time, right? Like
and I know for myself, there are a few studios here in Stockholm, and especially one that I've been going to A lot. I know that they always complain about the fact that they have to buy new
The fabric, the covering
yeah,
material. Yeah.
the covering material, yeah,
Hmm.
because clients coming in with zippers and not really like Pilates specific clothes
Right.
when they are working out.
Yes.
So I want, and then I think it's really interesting to to work within a niche and see how you can build a community within a niche, because there are so many sports who are doing everything.
Yeah, so general.
Very general, yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and I would say too, our clothes, it's sustainable both when it comes to recycled fabric, but it's also sustainable in the design. So you wouldn't get tired of the design. You will be
Yes.
able to wear them season after season. It's not a lot of you know flowers or flashy colors that you may get tired of.
Yes.
It's very uplifting too, though. We are adding. This is a spoiler. We are adding some more colors
Okay.
to the upcoming collection. Yeah,
Now, is it all black at this point?
it's all black and blue.
Black and blue. Yes. So my
Yeah.
wife loves that. Like she's like, "Oh, it's a shade of black. Oh, it's a shade of brown." Like she was looking through it. She's like, "I like that. I 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 like that." Yes. Yes.
Is your wife doing Pilates as well?
Yeah, so she takes Pilates classes with me. She's a yoga
Mm.
instructor and she's been a group fitness instructor for a long time. So she's in the fitness world as well. So yeah, so she appreciates that. Um, I'd love to hear from like a comment section, like, and also Helena, like, what have been some of people's pet peeves with clothing before your life? Like, and would it be um, so it's like the seam you're saying about it being seams and free movement type thing. Is is there a real difference between like yoga clothes and Pilates clothes in terms of like what makes it different and better or
Mm, I think I would say to me, the traditional yoga where it's a bigger, like loose fit and
Mhm.
big clothes. But nowadays, or after yoga has become more commercial, I think people are wearing more, leggings and tight clothes when they are doing yoga. And of course, there are so many different kind of yogas too.
Right?
Um, but
That's true too.
yeah.
Yeah.
What was the question?
No, I'm just
The
saying, is there,
different.
yeah, what's the difference then? Like, what's the difference between a yoga and a uniquely Pilates type clothes? But you did answer it there. Like, there is different flows to it. But actually, the thing that comes up even as I was asking that question as you're talking is like body shapes, body sizes. Do you spend a lot of time like, addressing that with what you're doing as well? Because I know that that becomes a lot of the issue too, right? Like we have these models who are super tiny, and then people feel like that's not for me, and like all that sort of thing.
Mm. Um, when it comes to our community, we are
Mm-hmm.
working with Pilates instructors, and uh, if you look at our role models and our Pilates person we are working with, then you would see that they come in all different shapes and colors and so on. When it comes to our product photos and models on the site, I think we could be better in showing a more diverse woman. But the clothes itself, it's made for. I know I think we could show it better, but it's the material that we use. It's so soft, but it's still hugging. So and the design with a higher waist and the full body suits. It's made for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a complex conversation too, because
Yes.
you should just be confident in your own body, and I kind of don't like all the discussions going on now with. I understand why they are going, like why we are talking about different body shapes, but I wish we could, you know, raise the conversation and talk more about our bodies, what they are capable of, instead of talking
Yes.
about the shape of our bodies. And I think there are so many there are so many brands focusing on just, you know, talking about the shape,
Yes.
whereas I really want to lift the conversation, instead talking about what we are capable of, and being, you know, appreciate that we are just being able to move and yeah. I don't know if
I
it
heard
makes sense,
it
but
does. It does. Can I take a shot at it and tell me if I'm wrong in saying it this way? I feel like sometimes we've gone from saying skinny is only beautiful to it's okay to be larger,
mm,
to both of them being wrong, where both of them are focusing on the shape of your body instead of what your body actually can do. Is
mm,
that what you're saying? So it's like, well, let's
yeah,
move away from the conversation about whether this shape is okay or this shape is okay to what is your body capable of, and let's
yeah,
celebrate what our bodies can do instead of what it looks
exactly,
like.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And we do have we did a little
I'm
project with,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just chuckling at Joel's comment. Joel is volunteering to wear your full body suit for men when it comes out. Just
I have I have a lot of men asking for, in the Pilates industry, asking when we are doing a line for men, and
okay.
also asking if they can, you know, be models for our jumpsuits.
Nice. Can we get
I'll
like
have a
those?
good team.
Sure, I know, right? So if you can make like those Bruce Lee, the yellow and black jumpsuit that he
Yeah,
wore in like Enter the
yeah,
Dragon, I'm down. I think
good.
if you have like a wrestling singlet, I think Joel's in. So
Yeah. Well, we'll think about that, Jules. Yeah. um, I love the cat suits. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, I interrupted your thought there. Sorry, you were
That,
saying.
and it's funny with our cat suits or jumpsuits, because that was the first product that we launched, because they are really unique,
Hmm.
and they are very cool in the way they are manufactured, because they are um, um, uh, they're produced in a machine
Okay.
that stitch the entire bodysuit.
No
So it comes
seam?
out, yeah. So it's coming out
What?
like in a cylinder, the entire
Yes.
piece of clothing. So it's very little um, like man touches on the product.
Very
I don't
cool.
know if that made sense at
It
all, but
does. It does. It does totally. Yeah.
it's a very special technique. And they have now it took I would say almost a year, 2 years, because before they become really popular. Now I wouldn't say that we were the first one, but now I see jumpsuits everywhere.
Yes.
Um, so that's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think,
Um,
yeah. So Joel and I are going to place orders for the Bruce Lee suit when it comes out. Okay. You saw it here first. I'd be so sick. I really love that.
it's a lot of brands doing unisex styles
Yeah.
right now. What do you think about that?
It's well, I mean, it's a running joke in our chat right now, but at the same time, I would totally wear that if that came out. My wife, and it's kind of related, but not really. My dad used to, when he would work on his cars, he'd have like a pair of like coveralls that, he just pull like whatever. He'd come home from work and then he'd just go in the garage, put these coveralls over everything, like a full one piece thing, work on the cars, zip it off, go back in the house. So I told that to my wife a few years back, and then for my birthday last year, she got me a full like Porsche
Hmm.
racing coveralls for when I'm working, and I think it's the best thing ever. Like I think it's so cool. So if I can get that for working on the car, if you can get that for working in the Pilates studio, like I'm down. Like
Yeah.
I would do that.
I think it was Churchill who was all like very often seen in that kind of um, bodysuit as well,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
overall. Yeah.
yeah. So if it's coming, let me know. I think we're down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Personally, I think that we have to separate, women's wear and men's wear still, because
sure.
we do
Yeah,
look different.
yeah.
But many brands are making unisex
Mhm.
collections now. But I mean, for the jumpsuits, we have a mini jumpsuit. That's kind of what you're talking about.
Mhm.
You're welcome to try it. But I think it will be a little bit, you need to separate a jumpsuit for women and a jumpsuit for men.
Yes, yes.
We can try. We
We'll
can try, Martin.
we'll do that offline.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Well, I see that with like cosmetic companies do that too, right? Like a friend of mine who works for a company, they'd say like they'd have some product and they basically just put in a blue box for the men and a red box for the women, but they didn't change the formula at all. It's the exact same thing. You just change
Mm.
the packaging, right? So yeah, Miguel Silva would be down. We have discussed it before. There you go. So you have three orders, Helena. There you go. So
Lovely. Miguel, he's in Portugal, isn't
he's in
he?
Portugal, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Lovely.
Too funny. So are you legit coming up with a men, like jokes aside, are you thinking about like actually rolling out some men's products as well, or do you feel like there's enough men doing Pilates yet for uptake, or what's your thoughts?
I think there are a lot of men doing Pilates. It's just that they don't talk about it
Mhm.
as much. Or what is your experience?
Yeah, I wonder if it is that they're not doing as much. I mean, there are more men doing it now. I mean, like the Joel Cosbys and the Miguel Silvas of the world put it out there in a way that's like, oh, okay, there's guys who like are doing this and teaching other people and training others. So, the more people see trainers and instructors and teacher trainers as instructors, then it becomes our heart to get more of those guys in, right?
Mm,
And then you have like LeBron James does Pilates and you see David Beckham does Pilates and stuff. So when we start to see athletes doing it for performance purposes instead of just seeing people do it for rehab purposes, that
exactly.
that normalizes the conversation as well because it's like, okay, I don't have to wait till I'm 85 to start doing Pilates. I can do it now because it's going to help me. So I don't know. That's where I come in. Like I feel like I want normal people to realize that the weekend warrior can do Pilates, not just for rehab purposes or for old people. So
But is
more,
that,
yeah.
would you say that most, in your experience,
Mhm.
most of the women who are doing Pilates, it's actually they are um, standpoint, as you're saying, most men are coming in because it's a good complement to their football or baseball or
Yeah.
training, whereas women are doing it more from a rehab perspective.
So, well, I'd say it's half and half. I think there are more women who appreciate the full benefits of Pilates than there are men who appreciate the full benefit of it. Like,
Mm,
cause there's women who take Pilates because they're still in it because they're trying to get six pack abs, right? Like, there's that piece of it as well. There's people who are in it just for the aesthetic reasons. There's people that are in it for the performance reasons, and there are people that are there for the mind body connection or for your corrective exercise. So I think we see the full gamut of it with women more, whereas for men, we're still having conversations as to why you need to do Pilates,
mm.
right? And so then that's when we have to appeal to wherever they're at. So I don't know. I feel like yeah, there's a lot of people who do it for different reasons, but um, it also comes back to where we came from, right? So if you
Mm.
were a dancer that was injured and you found Pilates, a lot of times you find yourself attracted to people who are injured and recognizing that Pilates can help them with their scoliosis or their knee injury or their back or whatever. I don't know. Everyone comes from different places. It is tough to answer these days, but I just feel like I'm pushing more the performance side more and more because every time I hear people talking about Pilates, is like, this can help your back. I'm like, well, yeah, this can also help you play with your kids. This can help you in your sport if you're an athlete. So I want people to see the athletic side of it as well as as much as they're seeing the corrective exercise side of it. So maybe that's my niche. That's my piece. So maybe my eyes are programmed to looking for that. And Joel's saying a lot of men feel if I'm going to put in the time exercising, I want to get big and show that I work out. Right, exactly. So that investment in a mind-body connection or those tiny stabilizer muscles, they're not the sexy muscles. So if I'm not working on, my
for the visible muscles
the visible muscles, right? Like curls for the girls, right? Like it's not, that doesn't do it. So
if we are going to do a men's collection, so what would you, seriously though, what would you like in a men's collection?
In a men's collection,
I feel like Jules have a lot to say here too.
I know, eh? Yeah, so trickle down from body. Yeah, it definitely is a trickle down from bodybuilding, that mindset around exercise for sure. In terms of guys and gear, I would say definitely like a compression short, right? So something that, like, if I'm wearing just a free short, I'd have a compression short underneath it, because I'm sure every woman would say that too, that the worst thing is when a guy's wearing some like basketball shorts and like all this business is out there showing. So like something that has a compression liner to it, shorts for sure, tank tops, t-shirts, and I always say like a wrestler or like a boxer or something, like your walk-in gear and your walk-out gear. So something that's loose so that I could feel comfortable from the car to the studio and then from the studio back to the car, sort of thing. So that's that sort of piece too. So some kind of urban walk-in, walk-out gear as well as my on the equipment gear. Yeah, it's fitting but just in the right spots. Yeah, and I've worn like and I'm some of the guys who are watching this too can probably make sense of, like, say doing something like on the ladder barrel doing swan, and then you're wearing shorts that have a logo that's grippy, and then you can't extend out into your swan because your pants are holding you back, right?
Exactly.
Like where the logo is posted, like I have shorts to do that, right? Like you have a branding logo, and it actually prevents you from doing the move because it's sticking to the logo even though the pant is good.
Exactly.
So,
and then you have the material too. It's really important what kind of material you have, because the material can enhance the movement, but it can also prevent you from moving in a more fluent way.
Yeah. I think people feel my pain with that sticky. Yeah. Well, and Joel mentioned that earlier too, with women, with like you're wearing like something that has their back exposed, and then you're trying to do a short spine massage, and then you can't move with it, right? Because your skin is tacky and sticky because you're hot already, and then you can't move, right? So something that's breathable and allows you to flow, but not so loose that it's hindering. Or even clients too, right? Like if they're wearing such baggy clothes, they can't see where they're connecting and engaging if everything is super loose. But then I'm not going to tell someone to like lift up your shirt so I can see if you're using your So anyway, so there are some pieces to it, but like I think for guys, something that is fitting enough where it needs to be fitting, and then I think the walk-in, walk-out gear is key too, right? Because especially in a climate like Canada, in the middle of winter, I'll walk into a studio, sweat, I'm not showering here at the studio, and then walk out. So I want something that's breathable enough that I'm not going to just like be drowning my own sweat while I'm driving home, but not freezing to death at the same time, right? So it's interesting.
That I would say that's easier to do unisex, I would say. The sweatshirts and t-shirts. We have shorts that are fitting but won't expose on cycling series. Yeah, that goes for. I mean, that goes for both women and men, I would say.
Yes.
And that's another thing. I think there was a couple of years ago, there were so many leggings that they were when you were doing some of the movements, or if you were doing a squat, for example,
Yes.
they were so transparent.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's really, I think that's important too with when it comes, I'm going back to fabric, but our fabric, it's so nice against the skin, and it's not thick, but it's covering, like it's, you know, it's good coverage,
Yes.
which I think is good.
Mhm. It's interesting. So how did you, kind of circling back to, you said about your, was it scoliosis that you had initially?
I
Is
have,
that,
yeah,
yeah.
I have scoliosis, so they found or a doctor saw my scoliosis when I was in my teens, which is pretty common. It's good if you can spot it a little bit earlier when you're still growing.
Yes.
And back then I went to a physiotherapist. I think this was very old school, because
Yes.
she was training. When you have scoliosis, your spine is it has a curve, or it can have several curves, but usually you are more dominant or stronger on one side of the body, and it can also impact your rib cage and your pelvis.
Yes.
But anyway, the physiotherapist I went to back then, she told me to do like only exercises on one side.
To balance it out.
That's the way they saw it. That's the way how, you know, they believed I should balance it out, to just do like certain exercises on only one side. Whereas today, I think we realize that you can do, you know, you should do the same exercises on both sides, because the strong side will, or the weaker side will work so much harder.
Yes.
So we'll balance it out in that sense.
Yes. Yeah. She's saying no. Oh no, to your scoliosis
Yeah.
exercise prescription. Yes.
We have is it May? Now in June we have a collab coming up with Helena. She is an amazing Pilates instructor who is dedicated and really focusing on scoliosis in her practice.
Yes.
And
I had a,
she loves our jumpsuits, because they are actually very open in the back. But the
okay.
good thing with that is when you are teaching a client, or when you're wearing them yourself and, you know, showing, then you could really see how, you know, how the body moves.
Yes. Yes. Sorry. So you're saying, so how did you find Pilates initially then?
I found so I was living in LA, and I talked to someone about my scoliosis. Who said like, well, you should try Pilates, and then I went to Equinox now I forgot her name, but a really good instructor there, and I took PT sessions with her, and then I was hooked.
Yeah.
And then I thought I better, you know, I better certify and you know, study Pilates myself, because then of course I can continue taking classes, but then I will also know how to, you know, I would understand my body better and the movement,
Yes.
and I can do it safely at home and so on. And no, the more I did it, the more I just appreciate it. Now I think everyone should do everyone
Yes.
should do Pilates, really.
So initially you took the certification course just out of your own special interest for your,
Yeah.
yeah, as opposed to saying like, my calling is to be a teacher. It's more like, no, my body needs this, so let me learn everything I can about it.
Yeah. And then while I was doing it, I was like, well, there is no, you know, specific Pilates where like it is in, you know, the running community or in the yoga community. And that's where my idea of Pilates clothing or Pilates sportswear brand started to grow.
Amazing. So did you have the brand when you were in LA, or since you've been in
No,
Sweden?
no, I started when I moved back to Sweden.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, but I guess I got a lot of creative inspiration while I was living in LA that I took back home.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So there's when we were talking earlier, you were saying like healing through movement as one of your things that you speak to. I hear that even though we haven't really spoken specifically to it, how that movement has been healing for you. Can you speak a little bit more to like what that statement healing through movement means?
Uh, well, healing from, I would say, well, to me, it's more, being able to tuning into your body and listening to your body and um, or personally, when you have scoliosis, you kind of tighten up or become very stiff, especially in your back. But as I say, it can be, it can impact your breathing and your rib cage and so as well. And so, just being able to find, learning how to move that really impacts your everyday life. Like I can sit for longer, or I can run for longer due to the fact that I can better tune in and listen to my body. And
Yes.
yeah, I don't know if it, I don't know if it makes sense, but I'm so grateful for
Yes.
Pilates and the way that it has taught me how to really connect with my body. And I know, I can really, when so I have a baby girl. She's 1 year old, and
Nice.
after you have given birth, you cannot, of course, work out right away. But you can do some like nice Pilates movements or Garuda or yoga inspired movements, and I can really feel when I haven't been moving the right
Okay.
way.
Yes.
When it's like, now it's time, I have to like um, you know uh, listen to my body and take this serious, because otherwise it's gonna um, go downhill very fast.
No, I hear you on that. And that's and then I guess that's where your clothing comes in, right? Like so now if moving this healing through movement, and now this is the clothes is going to help you to move free or not have to worry about that barrier or those interruptions or those distractions from your clothing. It all ties in together in a great way.
Yeah,
And
exactly. So it's clothing that shouldn't really be thinking of the fact that you wear them. They're just there,
they're
and
just there. Yes.
all you're thinking of is being in the moment, in your movement, and connecting with your body, and being in the now, really.
Yes, exactly. When Trent McIntyre was here on Monday, we spent a lot of time talking about our story.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asking him, since he has a product that he's selling, if there's a difference in his mind between selling a product and selling a service.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you the same question from your Pilates perspective. Like when you're, learning Pilates, do you think it'd be easier to sell, like, come take a Pilates class with me, or come buy this piece of clothing from me?
Oh. Uh,
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I want to say no. It's not. It shouldn't be
No
easier to
difference.
sell. I mean, okay, of course, it's easier to sell a service in the sense that you don't have all the production and all
Yes.
the sample testing and that aspect to it, right? It's
Fair.
like
Yeah.
being a consultant. You're not. Uh, um, it's. I guess it's an easier. um,
process?
process, maybe.
Yes, yes,
It's a
yes.
shorter process.
Yeah, totally.
I was gonna say it's an easier startup phase, but
Hmm.
of course you need to build a client base.
Right.
Yeah, if, no matter if it's product or if it's service. But
Hmm.
yeah.
I follow you. No, I follow you because I mean I think it's like sometimes it's a confidence thing, and I know for me, I feel like at times it's easier for me to sell a service than to
Hmm.
say, "Come buy this cup from me." Like I can control how the quality of the product because I'm servicing it as opposed to
Hmm.
saying buy this cup and then you may or not like the cup and I don't know. So the selling products and
It's
services are the same for some people and for some it's easier to sell a product than it is to sell a service.
mm,
So it's just kind of a hypothetical, like philosophical question, like which one is easier, and even for people in the comment section, like while Helena's answering, like which one do you find easier to sell, a product or a service?
yeah. I mean, we you don't. It's you don't have all the. They're so, but there are different steps
Totally.
and so different processes.
Yes.
Um, and then when it comes to products or clothing, for example, there are so many. Um, there are, you have the fabric sourcing, and then you have the coloring process, and then you have the logo printing, and you have the seams, and you have
It's
and you have,
it
I think,
sounds like so much work.
yeah, you have about maybe four sample tests before you have your ready sample that you can go to production with, and then you want to bring in people to test the final sample.
Wow.
um,
Yes. Hell, you have definitely put in the work to make this happen. That's so cool to see.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Likewise
no,
to you.
no, I appreciate what you're doing. It's hard. It is a really hard thing unless you're flowing in your passion, which sounds like you are. And then for you, this is just what we do. For me, I got tired hearing you talk about all those different steps. 'Cause I'm like, that's
Well,
like
I will bring in you and was it Jules? And
Joel?
Joel and
Yes, JC Vitality there. It's Joel.
and James when we are about to launch the men's
Yeah,
collection. So
yes,
you
Miguel
will
Silva as
the
well.
process will be real for you guys.
Nice. That's fun. Monica's asking where she can find your clothing. Can you type in the comment section your website or best way to connect with your clothing? And do you ship to the US?
Yeah, so we do ship worldwide, and we do a lot of orders coming in from US. I think, I mean, Pilates is pretty big in US, so
Mhm.
it's. I'll put in the our. That's. Did you get it? Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
So if you go to pebblespilates.com, then you will come to our online shop, and we ship worldwide.
Nice. Where did you come up with the name Pebbles? Just out of curiosity.
Uh, but so when I was younger, I was traveling a lot, and I was like collecting these pebbles from the beaches.
Hmm.
They have like all those pebbles from all around the world, and I just love the shape of pebbles. And if I am to link it somehow, the name, I just love the name Pebbles. But if I were to link it in a meaningful way to the business, it would be that the shape of the stones are like we are all different
Unique,
as
yes.
humans, and we are all unique, and
Amen. There you
um,
go. Good
and
stuff.
that's really what we back to what you were asking in the beginning, but that's really what we are focusing on when we are sourcing new fabrics that are and also when we design and the way we uh, design the clothing that they are supposed to
Yeah.
fit everyone.
Yeah.
I would say
Great.
women as of now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is so good. Well, I appreciate your time today. I love what you're doing. Definitely cheering you on. I'm gonna check out your website, and my wife's definitely gonna be buying something from you there. And then yeah, that's great. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us as well. And Monica's in Mexico. We have Joel in the US. People from all over the world cheering you on here, and all your people were in as well.
But
Um,
thank you for joining,
mhm.
and
Very
and
cool.
thank you for having me, Martin.
My pleasure. So I think it's so cool that you actually have a dedicated Pilates clothing line. So definitely going to be a Miro too in Germany. Um, yeah, so great meeting you today.
Good to
All
meet you
right.
too.
Thank you. So I will send you the replay of this. And yes, best of luck in your business. And we'll be cheering you on.
Have a good day. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Take care, everyone. See you guys.
You too.
Bye.